Join us for a reading from The Lottery. The Lottery is a short story by Shirley Jackson that was first published in The New Yorker on June 26, 1948. The story describes a fictional small American community which observes an annual tradition known as the Lottery, which is intended to ensure a good harvest and purge the town of bad omens. "Nancy next," Mr. Summers said. Nancy was 12, and her school friends breathed heavily as she went forward, switching her skirt, and took a slip daintily from the box. "Bill, Junior," Mr. Summers said, and Billy, his face red and his feet overlarge, nearly knocked the box over as he got a paper out. "Tessie," Mr. Summers said. She hesitated for a minute, looking around defiantly, and then set her lips and went up to the box. She snatched a paper out and held it behind her. "Bill," Mr. Summers said, and Bill Hutchinson reached into the box and felt around, bringing his hand out at last with the slip of paper in it. The crowd was quiet. A girl whispered, "I hope it's not Nancy," and the sound of the whisper reached the edges of the crowd. "It's not the way it used to be," Old Man Warner said clearly. "People ain't the way they used to be." "All right," Mr. Summers said. "Open the papers. Harry, you open little Dave's." Mr. Graves opened the slip of paper, and there was a general sigh through the crowd as he held it up, and everyone could see that it was blank. Nancy and Bill, Jr., opened theirs at the same time, and both beamed and laughed, turning around to the crowd and holding their slips of paper above their heads. "Tessie," Mr. Summers said. There was a pause, and then Mr. Summers looked at Bill Hutchinson, and Bill unfolded his paper and showed it. It was blank. "It's Tessie," Mr. Summers said, and his voice was hushed. "Show us her paper, Bill." Bill Hutchinson went over to his wife and forced the slip of paper out of her hand. It had a black spot on it, the black spot Mr. Summers had made the night before with the heavy pencil in the coal company office. Bill Hutchinson held it up, and there was a stir in the crowd. "All right, folks," Mr. Summers said. "Let's finish quickly." Although the villagers had forgotten the ritual and lost the original black box, they still remembered to use stones. The pile of stones the boys had made earlier was ready. There were stones on the ground with the blowing scraps of paper that had come out of the box. Mrs. Delacroix selected a stone so large she had to pick it up with both hands and turned to Mrs. Dunbar. "Come on," she said. "Hurry up." Mrs. Dunbar had small stones in both hands, and she said, gasping for breath, "I can't run at all. You'll have to go ahead and I'll catch up with you." The children had stones already, and someone gave little Davy Hutchinson a few pebbles. Tessie Hutchinson was in the center of a cleared space by now, and she held her hands out desperately as the villagers moved in on her. "It isn't fair," she said. A stone hit her on the side of the head. Old Man Warner was saying, come on, everyone." Steve Adams was in the front of the crowd of villagers with Mrs. Graves beside him. "It isn't fair, it isn't right," Mrs. Hutchinson screamed, and then they were upon her. Thank you, dear followers, for staying with us till the very end of this breathtaking classical short story video. Your unwavering support means the world to us. The summary. In the story of The Lottery, everyone in the village participated in it. This lottery only happens in the summer. It had hit the summer, and the children of the village went around collecting stones and putting them in their pocket for the lottery. They all joined in the square on June 27th and started the lottery. Tessie was late for the lottery, and everyone were teasing her and making fun of her because she had came late to the lottery. Mr. Summer had held the lottery and told everyone to write on the piece of paper and throw it into the small black box, which looks so funny to people because it isn't the real one. But the real black box had been missing since long time ago, even before the old age. They had rules for the lottery, and the rules is that Mr. Summers will be reading out names of the family head to go up and draw a slip of paper and to throw it into the black box. Mr. Summer was in a hurry, and so he started the lottery already, and when he had called out names, everyone opened up their papers and had spread the word that Bill Hutchinson has got it. Tessie complained that it isn't fair because Bill didn't have the time to draw on the paper. So they called up the Hutchinson family to go up and draw on the paper, but Tessie only drawn a small dot on her paper. When they called the name, it was Tessie, and she said it wasn't fair still. While saying it wasn't fair, she got hit by a stone on her head, and everyone started throwing her more stones.